The void was silent, yet the echoes of a tragedy stretched across light years. 9 million souls had vanished in the blink of an alien eye, extinguished by a species that moved through the galaxy with cold precision, leaving devastation as proof of their dominion. Their victims had called for help, and the signal had reached Earth, a whisper across the void that humanity could not ignore. This was no mere warning. It was a summons, a test of courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding fire of a species that refused to bow. The fleet assembled in orbit, ships of human design, sleek and formidable, each bristling with weapons, shields humming with potential energy, engines glowing like coiled lightning. Commanders and pilots alike moved with quiet intensity, knowing that every calculation, every decision, would carry the weight of billions. Earth had watched, waited, and now it would answer. Humanity's defiance would be absolute, precise, and merciless. Captain Rylan Kale stood on the bridge of the ISV Retribution, eyes tracing the map of enemy territory. Coordinates flashed, marking the last known location of the species that had erased millions. Every sector told a story of annihilation, worlds scarred, atmospheres burned, civilizations turned to dust. Yet in those ruins, sensors detected faint energy pulses, remnants of technology, and intelligence that whispered a warning: do not come. Humanity did not flinch. The first jump into deep space was quiet, almost reverent. Stars stretched into lines of light as the fleet accelerated, the hum of engines a rhythm against the vast, indifferent void. Strategists calculated the Empire's patterns, predicting patrol routes and ambush points, and the human fleet moved as a single organism, each vessel anticipating the next move. Silence dominated the moments between the beats of action, a tension that wrapped around the crew like a living thing. Recon drones detected the first signs of the alien species, shapes in shadow, moving faster than expected, adaptive, lethal. The humans watched, learned, and adapted faster. Weapons were calibrated not just for destruction, but for disruption, designed to exploit weakness, to turn the alien's perfection against itself. Every maneuver was an act of human ingenuity, every calculation a declaration. The species that had thought itself supreme would soon learn the cost of underestimating humanity. The fleet moved deeper into the territory of annihilation, where stars seemed dimmer and the void itself felt heavy, as though mourning the billions lost. Every sensor scanned painted images of devastation, planets scarred by firestorms, cities reduced to jagged ruins, oceans boiled away, and skies scorched into nothingness. Yet in the midst of this horror, there was evidence of precision, of calculation, of a species that understood both strategy and terror in equal measure. They were efficient, lethal, and utterly remorseless. Humanity had never faced a threat so absolute. Captain Rylan Kale walked the bridge of the ISV Retribution, eyes tracing projections of the alien fleet's likely positions. Officers around him were silent, hands poised over consoles, minds working in synchronization. Calculations of speed, trajectory, weapon output, and patrol timing flashed across holographic displays, forming a dance of data that only humans could master. The fleet itself seemed to pulse in unison, ships moving with an almost organic fluidity, engines humming as if aware that this mission was more than survival, it was vengeance. The first contact came as they approached a cluster of abandoned worlds. Alien scouts, sleek and black as void shadows, emerged from the darkness, scanning for intruders with terrifying precision. The Retribution responded not with panic, but with orchestrated elegance. Energy pulses flared from its hull, adaptive shields rippled in response to incoming scans, and countermeasures deployed with uncanny timing. Humanity was not just reacting, it was predicting, manipulating, and shaping the battlefield to its advantage. Ships darted through asteroid belts and debris fields, using gravity wells and natural cover to evade detection while simultaneously setting traps. Tactical drones detached and weaved between the shadows, sending false signals, scrambling sensors, and feeding misinformation to the alien scouts. Every human move was designed not only to survive but to teach the aliens that precision alone could not overcome ingenuity, courage, and relentless determination. The aliens struck back, their ships erupting in bursts of energy that split the void like shards of glass. The human fleet responded with a symphony of motion, fleets splitting and converging, decoy vessels leading attackers into ambushes, weapons firing in precise, lethal patterns. Explosions illuminated the darkness, casting surreal reflections across the hulls, but not a single human ship faltered. Every maneuver, every strike, every adjustment was proof that humanity could turn even desperation into a weapon. Amid the chaos, the SOS signal pulsed like a heartbeat, a guide through the carnage. It carried intelligence, coordinates, and warnings embedded in a rhythm that resonated with the fleet's systems. Captain Kale traced its patterns, realizing that it was more than a call for help. It was a map, a key, a weapon hidden in plain sight. The fleet surged forward, engines igniting with controlled fury, cutting through the void like a blade. The alien forces, confident in their superiority, began to falter against tactics they could not predict, weapons they could not counter, and a mind they could not anticipate. As the human ships approached the heart of enemy territory, a quiet settled briefly across the bridge. The crew reflected on the magnitude of what they had undertaken, billions dead, countless worlds erased, and yet here they were, alive, unbroken, and prepared to answer with fire and strategy. The void around them felt charged with potential, every star a witness to the audacity of a species that refused to yield. Humanity's defiance was not loud or boastful, it was precise, intelligent, and inexorable. The alien strongholds loomed ahead, massive and dark, carved from materials that absorbed starlight, their surfaces pulsing with energy like living wounds in the void. The fleet moved in formation, engines glowing faintly, shields rippling as though the ships themselves were aware of the danger. Every sensor blipped with potential threats, interceptors, energy turrets, orbital defense grids, but the humans were calm, deliberate, each movement a calculation, each strike a declaration of defiance. They had come not merely to survive, but to punish, to reclaim, and to prove that no species, no matter how merciless, could erase humanity without consequence. The first volley erupted from the outer defenses. Beams of searing energy tore through space, plasma arcs crackling across the void, illuminating the twisted geometry of the alien fortresses. The human fleet responded with precision. Shields flared, adaptive and luminous, deflecting attacks that would have obliterated any lesser vessel. The ISV Retribution led the charge, weaving through the firestorm with impossible grace, engines burning in subtle arcs to maximize evasive potential while directing devastating counterattacks, boarding drones detached, moving like swarms of metallic predators, slipping through sensor blind spots, infiltrating enemy vessels, and sabotaging power cores. Explosions rippled across the alien fleet as internal systems erupted from within. The humans had learned to fight differently. Not brute force alone, but strategy layered upon strategy, turning every attack into an opportunity, every enemy move into vulnerability. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Kale traced the core of the stronghold's defenses. Energy conduits pulsed like veins, each linked to weapon platforms and structural integrity fields. With careful calculation, the fleet targeted critical nodes, delivering synchronized volleys that destabilized turrets, collapsed bridges, and threw patrol formations into chaos. The aliens, disciplined and adaptive, attempted countermeasures, but they could not anticipate the human ability to improvise, to see openings where none existed, to strike with both patience and audacity. As the inner sanctums of the fortress came into view, the SOS signal pulsed stronger, almost guiding the fleet with intention. It revealed corridors of energy and weak points in defenses, a map of opportunity embedded within the chaos of destruction. The humans moved as one with the signal, engines pulsing in harmony with its rhythm, shields adjusting to its resonance. Every strike was amplified, every maneuver sharpened, and every crew member felt the weight of purpose, not vengeance alone, but responsibility, intellect, and the unyielding spark of survival and pride. The alien fleet regrouped for a desperate counterattack, massive warships converging in an intricate pattern designed to crush the human advance. Yet the fleet flowed around them, splitting, weaving, turning the onslaught into a trap. Ships collided with one another, energy streams misfiring, and chaos erupted in the heart of the Empire's strongest position. Humanity had become not merely a threat, they had become a force that reshaped the battlefield. Bending it to their will, the fortress's inner ring stretched across the void like a city of shadows, towers bristling with weapons, and walls shimmering with energy fields designed to vaporize intruders. The ISV Retribution and the human fleet pressed forward, moving through the lethal geometry of the enemy's creation with calculated elegance. Sensors mapped every turret, every patrol route, every energy conduit, turning the impossible into opportunity. Humanity had learned from every strike, every ambush, every world lost, not merely to survive, but to overcome. The first defensive line reacted. Massive turrets unleashed torrents of plasma, energy arcs lancing through the void like incandescent whips. The human fleet countered instantly. Shields rippled and shimmered, adaptive to frequency and energy type, while weapons discharged in precise, coordinated strikes that tore through the alien platforms. The fleet flowed like liquid metal, weaving between volleys, exploiting structural weaknesses, and turning chaos into a weapon of human design. Boarding drones detached in synchronized waves, slipping into gaps in defenses, shutting down reactors, disabling weapons, and creating corridors of opportunity for the fleet. Explosions erupted in brilliant flashes, illuminating the alien architecture, revealing corridors of movement, and destabilizing formations the Empire had assumed were invulnerable. Humanity did not rush, they moved with measured audacity, striking where least expected, turning the aliens' confidence into confusion. Captain Kale watched the tactical displays, calculating trajectories and timing with the precision of a conductor leading an orchestra. Each ship, each maneuver, each burst of fire was part of a grand design, executed with patience and ingenuity. The SOS pulse guided them deeper into the fortress, revealing critical nodes and corridors, resonating with the human fleet in a rhythm that synchronized thought, action, and purpose. The enemy's perfection could not match the adaptability and relentless resolve of humanity, as the human ships breached the inner sanctum. The alien fleet launched a desperate counteroffensive, vast warships converging with lethal coordination. Yet the humans had anticipated this, splitting and weaving with perfect timing. Energy beams misaligned, formations fractured, and the fortress itself trembled under precise, devastating strikes. Humanity had become more than a fleet, they were a singular force, a mind stretched across metal, energy, and courage, reshaping the battlefield with intellect and unyielding defiance. The moment of culmination neared. The central nexus of the fortress glowed with the intensity of a star, a living core of alien power, pulsing with intelligence, adaptation, and lethality. The SOS signal resonated with it, creating a pathway through the chaos, guiding humanity toward not just victory, but mastery of the enemy's most guarded secrets. Every strike, every maneuver, every breath aboard the Retribution was a step toward that culmination, a testament to the resilience, ingenuity, and indomitable spirit of humanity. The central nexus of the alien fortress loomed like a living star, radiating energy that rippled across the void and into every system aboard the ISV Retribution. Its surface shimmered with layers of adaptive shielding, impossible to penetrate with conventional fire. Yet the human fleet moved without hesitation, engines glowing, weapons calibrated, every maneuver guided by intellect, courage, and the faint pulse of the SOS signal. Humanity had arrived not to negotiate, not to beg, but to show that even against annihilation itself, they would not bow. The first volleys of concentrated fire struck the fleet, torrents of plasma and kinetic energy tearing through space. Shields flared and rippled, diverting energy across the hull, while countermeasures scrambled sensors and disrupted targeting. The humans moved as one, weaving between barrages with preternatural precision, exploiting gaps and patterns that no alien strategist had expected. Every evasive maneuver became an offensive opportunity, every attack a carefully placed note in a symphony of defiance. Boarding drones and specialized strike crafts detached in synchronized waves, infiltrating enemy vessels and core nodes with surgical accuracy. Energy reactors destabilized, weapon platforms overloaded, and systems faltered. The alien fleet, vast and disciplined, struggled to adapt to a human mind that saw patterns beyond computation, turning the Empire's perfection into chaos. Explosions lit the void like fireworks of rebellion, fragments of ships floating in silent arcs as humanity pressed closer to the heart of annihilation. Captain Kale traced the pulse of the SOS signal, now synchronized with the Nexus itself. It revealed corridors, weak points, and systems the aliens assumed untouchable. Every calculation, every redirection of power, every precise strike brought the human fleet closer to the core. Humanity had transformed the battlefield into a chessboard, each move planned, yet flexible, each action a declaration that strategy, courage, and intellect were the deadliest weapons in the galaxy. The alien forces launched a desperate final offensive, massive warships converging on the human fleet from all directions, seeking to overwhelm with numbers and firepower. Yet the humans flowed around them, splitting and weaving, redirecting attacks, turning ambushes into traps, and dismantling formations with terrifying precision. The fortress shook, energy surges coursing unpredictably, reflecting the destabilization wrought by human ingenuity. At last, the path to the core opened. The SOS signal pulsed brighter, its resonance guiding the fleet, illuminating the Nexus's defenses, revealing the secrets of a species that had thought itself untouchable. Humanity surged forward, engines blazing, shields shimmering, weapons poised not for destruction alone, but for the reclamation of knowledge, power, and justice. Every soul aboard knew the weight of the moment. They were the heirs of billions lost, the vengeance of a species that refused to vanish silently into the void. The Nexus at the heart of the fortress pulsed like a living entity, radiating waves of energy that bent light and distorted space. Its core was a lattice of power and intelligence, adaptive, intelligent, and lethal. The ISV Retribution moved into position, the human fleet following in perfect synchronization. Every vessel, every engine, every weapon pulse resonated with purpose. Humanity had come not only to survive, but to strike, to reclaim, and to imprint their defiance upon the galaxy. The alien fleet made one last desperate attempt to intercept, waves of massive warships converging in intricate formations, lasers and plasma cutting the void like lightning. But the humans flowed like liquid through their traps, shields shimmering with adaptive brilliance, engines flaring with precise bursts. Countermeasures scrambled targeting systems, drones infiltrated the largest vessels, and every strike turned the aliens' coordination against them. Humanity had become more than a fleet, they were a singular mind, a force of strategy and courage that reshaped the battlefield itself. The SOS signal pulsed in harmony with the fleet, guiding them into the core, revealing weak points and corridors the aliens had assumed untouchable. Systems overcharged, conduits glowed with redirected energy, and the human ships moved in perfect unison, every calculation, every adjustment, every strike magnified by the resonance of the signal. The fortress shook, energy surges lancing unpredictably, but the humans pressed onward with unwavering focus. Explosions erupted in cascading brilliance, alien vessels torn apart, platforms collapsing under precise volleys, and energy arcs dancing across the void. The ISV Retribution led the charge, piercing the core chamber as boarding drones disabled the final defensive nodes. The SOS signal converged with the Nexus, illuminating secrets and knowledge, transforming the fleet's presence into an unstoppable force. Humanity had turned desperation into victory, intelligence into power, and defiance into legacy. The void fell silent as the last of the alien defenses crumbled. The human fleet, battered yet unbroken, aligned above the ruined fortress, engines glowing, shields shimmering, carrying both the memory of billions lost and the proof of humanity's indomitable spirit. Captain Rylan Kale surveyed the scene. Knowing that this victory was not just survival, it was a statement to the galaxy. Humanity would endure, unbowed and unbroken.